Welcome back to the Fantasy Hockey Podcast YouTube channel. We have another listener league, and I know people are getting a little bit sick about, the whole same league settings and all that. I get it. We did do quite a few other ones. You can watch the mocks and things like that, but trust me, this one is special. There is a reason you want to watch this one. Now, I've always wondered what it was like to draft behind like an expert that I don't know. It's one thing to draft against Brandon or draft behind him or in front of him when I know everything he thinks. But it's another thing to draft against someone who's epic and I've listened to forever and I have no idea how they draft from an actual real life perspective. And that's Keeping Karlsson. So I'm drafting behind Keeping Karlsson today, and that should make things really, really interesting. Keeping Karlsson is picking from the 4th. I'm picking from the 5th. Personally think 5th in this league with these league settings is the best possible position, just because I think there's a consensus top 5 if you include Burns in that. So I kind of get my pick of the litter and whoever falls to me. So I'm curious to see what happens, and I'm also really more so curious to see how Elan snipes me. I'm not sure exactly how that'll go, or if I snipe him. I mean, I hope I snipe him a few times, but it should be really interesting. So anyways, going back to what exactly the categories are again for those that are just tuning in. Maybe this is the first time you're watching. This is a listener league, and the most important thing on this in this listener league is that it's benchless. There's no bench. The peripheral or the categories, are goals, assists, PIMs, power play points, shots on goal, hits, and blocks. And then for goaltenders, it's just wins, save percentage, and goals against average. And over here on the right, you can see the league composition. So it's 3 centers, 3 left wings, 3 right wings, 5 defensemen. That's important. 5 defensemen, 1 util spot, and 2 goaltenders. And again, no bench. So that makes a big deal. So here we go. We've got 7 seconds on the clock here. Brandon is up with the first overall pick. So Brandon from the first, Elan from Keeping Karlsson. I think Brian might be drafting with him. Is drafted from 4th. I'm going 5th. Brandon gets Ovechkin, which is not surprising at all. Brandon's a huge Ovechkin fan, and especially in fantasy, he loves him. So, sets things up. I'm curious to see what happens for me. I think I'm going to get one of McDavid or Burns, I think. But I'm curious to see what Keeping Karlsson is going to do. Okay, so this is interesting. Now, I could see them actually kind of I could actually see him going Burns here and ruining my life and forcing me to take McDavid, which is fine. And he does. Damn it. They probably watched the video too. I hate it. I mean, I have to take McDavid at this point now, but like, I have to take McDavid now, but I mean, I didn't want to. That makes my life difficult. So this is going to be already a very different draft from anything I've done in a listener league, because I have not drafted center this early before, aside from when I took Malkin or Stammer. So this will be interesting. I haven't drafted with a guy with a super strong points guy like McDavid at first yet. So that'll make things a little bit interesting. Obviously puts me in quite a sizable lead for assists and a good competitive power play point start, but does hurt me a little bit in the other ones. But we can make that up. There's no worries, because of course we're going after Evander Kane, right? We all love Evander Kane. I thought about taking him 5th overall. Not really. Don't do that. Anyways, as we've talked about before in terms of picks, people will usually say in these leagues, like, we're overvaluing whoever. Don't pay attention too much to ranks or tier lists or anything like that. Always remember to look at your specific league settings, because, on one hand, you can say Evander Kane is overrated in our league, but in the same vein, Evander Kane finished 5th overall last year in this league setting. So if I got him, let's say, 3rd round, like I have in most of these listener leagues, it's not a reach. I mean, you're going for a top 10 guy who has a ton of upside, already got top 10 last year, was top 20 the year before, and has upside of top power play this year. So again, always remember to pay attention to your specific league settings, and that'll help a lot. So here on this next turn, I'm gonna be drafting right in front of Elan. So I think I'm gonna go. I mean, there's an interesting strat here, right? I don't think Bob gets to me. If he does, I think this is the league where I finally take Bob, potentially. I think here, though, what I want is I obviously have a center locked up already. We're going to try to eye, I think, getting either a winger or a defenseman, which is obvious. But I think I'm leaning defenseman. If I can get, I think on this turn, if I could go defenseman, I'll be in a really good spot because I'll fill out some peripherals. And I already have the points in McDavid. But peripherals are going to be a little bit, are going to be something that I should kind of reach for just slightly. Yeah, this is an active draft chat today. Okay. So at the end of this turn here, I will switch over to the sheet so that you can take a look at what we're looking at so far. There's been quite a few different picks to what we've done in the past. David Pastrnak went pretty early, earlier than usual. We saw Vasilevsky go a little bit early, which leaves Patty Kane to the 10th, which is really good value. So a little bit of a different draft so far, and that Burns in the 4th really messed with my mind. Gotta give it to them. I didn't think they'd do it, and they did. So then we see Draisaitl goes. So yeah, seeing surprising guys go up into the first round that we haven't in the past. And we've seen some that go McDavid up top. We've seen Stammer go top round. So this is definitely a very different draft from what we've seen in the past. I'm taking a look here real quick. Let's switch over to this. Here's the scarcity graph that I've been using, so much in these videos, which is a really big thing. So right now, obviously, the right wing and Blake Wheeler is the one kind of standing out as the guy that should be, the best available right now is Blake Wheeler. And then after that, you're looking at Evander Kane here on the left wing. I don't know why it says center left wing. That's a little bit broken. But you see Evander Kane is the left wing kind of next available. Wow, Taylor Hall goes 12th. So this is a very different draft from ones we've done in the past. And then center later on becomes more valuable. Blake Wheeler just goes. There you go. That makes sense. And defenseman right now is kind of at its lowest point, but it starts to fall off and then eventually gets kind of in line with wingers. So I do want to get one of those more kind of elite defensemen early like I have been. I think the defenseman's the strategy that I've had with defensemen is somewhat the same. Which I know some people will find boring, but I think that's the smartest move here. Just in general, this season, is I really like the move of getting defensemen early. Eichel, that is early for Eichel. Very, very early. I mean, earlier than we've normally seen. I don't hate it from the. I mean, I have Eichel ranked 26th, so it's a reach for sure, and I think it's more of a reach when you consider center depth in this league. So, yeah. I mean, I'm. We'll see what happens here. I wouldn't be surprised if I don't want to go Malkin simply because I would like to get Landeskog. I think if Landeskog can get to me, I'd be very, very happy. Now, the worry is on that turn when it gets to Brandon. I could see Brandon going Kane, which would be a little bit of a problem. But I would go, I think at this point, I'd go Landeskog if he's there, and then try to get a defenseman, and then get a Karlsson or a Giordano on that turn. That would be my move, I think, here. So we've seen centers go a lot earlier than we have in the past. Like we've seen Seguin fall a little bit in the past. We've seen Eichel fall in the past. We've kind of seen these guys fall off a little bit. So this will be interesting on who gets to me. I mean, the fact that Stammer is still there is really surprising. I'm also eyeing at some point. I mean, Rotten is interesting simply because he's apparently close to a contract. There goes Stamkos now. So that's 3 centers in a row there. Rotten is close to a contract at the time of recording this, so he could be signed. And there goes Landeskog. So I may end up going. I actually may end up going Rotten in here, simply because I don't think there's as much fear anymore in his contract situation. Although I could also go defenseman here and go like John Karlsson, and then on the turn do something weird. Elan, I'm listening to the Horizon Zero Dawn soundtrack right now, and I'm so bummed. Oh man, that's it reminds me of when I used to or still I guess when I work or when I studied when I was in school, I would study to soundtracks, like um, and that would keep me pretty engaged. It just made homework so much more exciting. I guess it makes drafts really exciting too. Um, okay, so what are we doing? So bishop goes. That is early. So part of me wants to take Bob here and actually do kind of a goaltender thing that I've done in the past. Part of me also wants to do Kane. Part of me wants to do John Karlsson and get my guy. Although I think Rotten in here is the right move. It's early for Rotten. I don't know what other people will do. I think I might go John Karlsson and hope that Rotten falls to me. No, let's go Rotten, and then I'll take like whatever defenseman is kind of there on that turn, unless of course it's Evander Kane, and then damn. Do I want to do it? Do I want to do it? Do I want to do it? Yeah, we're gonna do it. Let's do Rotten. So there's a very different draft for us here. This is not my normal draft. I haven't done. This is very different because I'm two point getters, and Brandon did not see that coming. Like I said, very different draft for me. I'm gonna try to change it up here and see if I can build something a little bit differently. So I'm hurting in peripherals so far and in blocks and everything, but that's okay. Brandon's calling me not friendly in the chat. Rude. Now Austin Matthews goes. Kind of saw that one coming, although I'm still surprised, and I would actually be curious to know after. And then Evander Kane goes early, kind of like I thought Evander Kane would go. Yeah, Evander Kane, I figured he'd go. So this next turn, I want to get a defenseman for sure. That'll help out my peripherals quite a bit. I think this draft I want to target Trocheck a little harder than I have in other ones. In other ones I've targeted, the Canes and whatnot. I think Trocheck would be a really good grab this one because of his peripherals, especially the hits. But I think we're gonna go a little bit differently. I figured Brandon would get Malkin if he fell to him. Again, I'm curious why. I don't really understand why Matthews is going above Tavares. It doesn't really make sense, and it's going to be tough right here. I mean, I know I want to wait for centers late. It's going to be very hard to justify. It's going to be very hard to justify not taking Tavares if he's there, and Karlsson's now gone, which makes my life kind of hard. Not hard. I mean, what we want here is we want a good defenseman that I'm happy with, and my top defenseman that I want is Giordano. So the fact that Karlsson is off the board is okay. But it just means I'm going to need to grab a defenseman here next. And it could be Letang. It could be Gio. I think I'm going to go Giordano, though. I like the team in front of him. He's my highest rated defenseman, so I'll grab him. And Dougie Hamilton is another guy, of course, I want eventually, who I've grabbed a lot in these leagues. Now Tavares finally goes. Makes sense. But again, just I don't really completely understand why Matthews is going ahead of Tavares. So a lot of people here are going second centers, which is good for us. Which means a lot of people, because they took centers early, and that, man, it is Elan, and aside from Matthews, is Elan and keeping Karlsson just like Brandon? Because that's how it feels like they're drafting. So anyways, here what we want, a lot of centers have gone, which is good for us because that means that centers will be available late. And so it makes me want to fade them even more. Like I think we'll see less of the Pierre-Luc Dubois, less of the Trochecks going than we will seeing the other guys go. So here, another interesting choice here that I could make is I could take Matthew Tkachuk as well, who I like, but I think he's going to fall. So instead, we're going to just reach for our guy. Definitely a reach. It is early. I have him ranked 18th overall in this league. It's probably, I probably don't necessarily need to go him. I could go Letang, who gets me more peripherals. We're going to go Giordano, though. It's okay. Like I've said before, this is one of those years where I kind of want to go for the guys that I specifically want. And I know people are going to give me, Marner just went, and people are going to say in the comments, like, you should have gone Marner. How did Marner not go? But I don't need Marner right now. I can fill in Marner's gaps. Yeah, Giordano does good things for me, and it puts me second to Brandon. Oh, of course I'm second to Brandon, and third is keeping Karlsson. All three of us right there. I mean, we all drafted early here though, so and we have the top 5 picks or whatever to boot, so that doesn't help, or that does help. If we look at my draft leaderboard here, let's switch over. So you see that Keaton Karlsson is doing really well in shots on goal, doing well in blocks because of Burns largely, but pretty balanced overall. I'm keeping it really balanced. I'm actually very competitive in everything, which I'm really happy with considering I went McDavid and Rantanen. This makes me super happy, and I mean in blocks so far I'm doing really good. So that's good. And if we switch back over here to the actual draft, so we're seeing more centers go. So Barkov goes. This is really good. I am very happy that a lot of people are taking centers, because that means that it's going to be much more likely that a Larkin or a Trocheck or a Zibanejad or a Pierre-Luc Dubois falls to me. And that we have not seen in other drafts. In other drafts so far that we've done, we've seen kind of those centers that I would want go way earlier than I would have expected, and thus not getting like a Larkin or something like that. But I'm really hoping that I am getting. I have an interesting strategy here, and I'm hoping that I'm kind of using. So many people have seen me draft. They've watched the YouTube videos. They've seen the posts and everything, so they know what I'm going to do or think they know. So I'm going to try to throw them a little bit off. And one thing I did a listener league draft this morning that I didn't record, but I did an interesting strategy there where I stacked Rene and Saros. Now, the reason I did that was because, one, I know no one's going to grab Saros. No one wants him, and that's fine. And let's say Saros gets taken, then I can pick up a Quick or a Hank or something like that. Like, there's so many options, right? And so, and speaking of that, Bob still hasn't gone. If Bob's there, I'm taking him. I don't think he will get to me, but if he's there, I'm definitely taking him. But anyways, my thought there was, if you think about your tandem, right? You have Rene and Saros. You're going to be hurt in the weeks where they only play 2 games, because the league start minimum in this one is 3. So you need 3 goalie starts for your goalie cats to count. That's really only going to happen to me twice this year. So it's worth it when you look at it from, they're probably going to, you're probably punting wins most weeks, but you're going to do real well when it comes to save percentage and goals against average. So that's more so what I'm eyeing, is that potentially a tandem like that could be good. Although, if like an Anderson or Bob falls to me here, I'm going to do the same thing, just not take the tandem. I'd probably do, like, let's say a Bob, and then wait all the way to the end for like a Markstrom. Either way, I like the idea this year of taking somebody and then waiting until the very end to back them up, at least in a league like this where it's benchless. It's only 2 goalies. It's only 3 goalie categories. Just secure yourself. I like the defense in front of Rene and Saros, so that's a good tandem. So it's almost like thinking about it from a team defense standpoint, which is interesting. Or you can get someone like, you can get somebody like a Bob, and he's going to hold you up. He can hold up a lot of people, so then I can get like a Jones, for example, really, really late, potentially, or a Markstrom, and most weeks I'll be more than okay. So we'll see what happens here. People are clearly fading goalies, so I am curious to see what happens. Now, Genzel is an interesting pick and someone we should talk about, because a lot of what I'm seeing is that Genzel is actually not going to be top power play. And when you look at Genzel here, they're projecting him for 12 power play points, which is good. That's fine, but his upside just isn't that high if there's no top power play. It's actually disappointing that he's not going to be top power play, to be honest. How is Crystal Tang still here? That is shocking to me. But anyways, yeah, Genzel, that's a little bit of a worry there, right? Jamie Benn hasn't gone. Dylan Larkin is still there. I'm assuming that if I don't grab him here soon, someone will. But Crystal Tang is there, and he's much better than the next kind of wave of defensemen. There's Crystal Tang, and then after that, the next best defenseman is Doughty and Hamilton. Nurse is actually better than all these guys. Bobrovsky goes kind of right before me, so that's okay, or not right before me, but close. So that's okay. We can fade defensemen a little bit, or goalies a little harder. Yeah, I was hoping Bob would fall to me, but that also means that there's still really good goalies out there, such as Anderson, Pekka. I don't want to get Gibson. Although I don't hate the Gibson Miller stack, honestly. You're gonna be in trouble the weeks that Miller starts. That's the only problem. So Freddie is not a bad option. Binnington we obviously like, but I don't want to do any kind of tandem stuff there. Markstrom we like, and that's kind of what I want to keep it to be honest, is kind of, these are the goalies I'm eyeing here. Okay, so now so are we going to start to see goalies go? Because if we are, I'm happy to take Rene, simply because then I'm going to sit back on goaltenders for a long time. Although there's, like I said, there's value late, right? Like there's Binnington, which I can get in a few rounds later, but the fact that like a Letang is still there or something like that, those are guys you just can't really replace as easily. You can't find a Letang as easily as you can find like a Pekka Rinne, right? So you want to go that elite defenseman when you can, especially if people are just letting others fall to you. I'll happily take those guys. I mean, if we look at the leaderboard right now, where I'm kind of sitting at, looking good. I need shots on goal more than anything, along with hits. So a little bit of a question mark on. I mean, I'm not going to punt hits or anything like that, but there's a good chance that in this specific league, I'm not going to be as competitive in hits as I have in the past ones. I mean, in the past ones, I've gotten like Evander Kane and Malkin and Larkin. So yeah, so this is going to put me in an interesting situation here. So let's take a look also here at positions drafted. So, some have not gone defense yet. I have a strange feeling. I don't know why. And again, I've never drafted with them, but I have a strange feeling that Elan and Keeping Karlsson are going to want to fill out one position each as this draft goes along. So I think that they're going to go either left wing or goaltender, I think. We'll see if I'm right. Rask goes after Anderson. So here the thing is, if I want to try my Rene stack here. So here's the thing. If I don't take a defenseman here and I instead go, no, let's fade goaltenders. Let's go with what I know is best here. So Brady Tkachuk, Larkin, and then there's Chris Letang, and then there's like a Dougie Hamilton. I like Mika Zibanejad. Matthew Tkachuk's still out there, which is kind of insane given he already signed. So I'm leaning Tkachuk or like a Yossi here. Or, sorry, not a Yossi, a Letang. It's crazy that Letang is still here. I have to take Letang. I don't know why he's still there. We'll see what other forwards fall to me. There's so many forwards left here to choose from, especially at center. It's not worth passing up on a Chris Letang. And he does go left wing. Okay, so Elan, like I said, my inkling here was that I had a feeling that their strategy was going to be fill out one position each. So I wouldn't be surprised if on this turn we see a goaltender go. We'll see how right that is. I might be wrong in terms just of goaltender, but not surprised to see one position each filled out. I think I remember in our episode talking about that, how they like to do that. Again, kind of back to this thing, right, where knowledge of your opponent is immensely useful and can really help you decide like what you're going to do. So if I know that they're going to take a left wing, I potentially take the next best left wing, in my opinion, which I think is Matthew Tkachuk, and no one's taken it. Well, technically, the actual best next one is Brady, but which I think Brandon may actually do on this turn. I wouldn't be surprised if Brandon on this turn actually does like a Larkin and Brady Tkachuk stack. just to mess with me. I'm actually very, very happy I got Chris Letang. I'm shocked that I got Letang there. Did not expect that at all, to be honest. So at the end of this turn here, once Brandon drafts, we'll switch over to my leaderboard here. Let's see what these standings think of me. Oh, thank you, standings. I'm glad you like me. People are really not as Banajed goes. So are we going to start to see these multi-cat? So, Brandon, I would not be surprised. I knew it. Larkin, here comes Brady Tkachuk. Watch. Unless he goes Trocheck. He's thinking of some multi-cat monster, probably. Unless he might need defenseman here, actually. I don't think he has a defenseman, does he? Oh, he has Hedman, so he might not. He's got to be thinking about Brady here. I knew he'd take Larkin. I was virtually guaranteeing it, but while he makes his decision, I'll let you know what he and he goes Brady. I told you. I knew he was going to do that. It was so obvious that's what he was going to do. I mean, now we're hoping Matthew Tkachuk gets to me. Alternatively, I could also do like it's 5 defensemen again. Remember, so I could go Dougie Hamilton here. It is an option. Again, I have so many points in McDavid and Rottenen already. At least a sizable lead in that I can afford to take another defenseman. Okay, so let's delete Brady Tkachuk here and let's take a look at my leaderboard here. What it looks like. This is before the Brady Tkachuk pick. So I'm hurting in goals and hurting shots on goal. Fine. Again, I'm taking defensemen, so that's kind of why. Good in assists, obviously, because I have a guy like McDavid and Giordano and Letang. You have assists there. Rene may actually be an interesting option here next, just because I get the goaltender that I want. But goaltenders don't seem to be going as fast as I thought. Shots on goal, I need to make up, but I can make that up relatively easily. Blocks are good. Power play points, PIMs, and everything, or whatever. Brandon up here at the top, doing pretty well. He's really balanced. Lower on points than I thought. And keeping Karlsson kind of fading these peripherals, or the peripherals in terms of PIMs and hits, and I'm curious if that's going to be a thing. I could see them doing that. And they go Weber, so they are not fading those. Okay, so here we go. So we saw Nurse, Weber, Tkachuk, and Risto go. So a lot of defensemen, and in my opinion, the best defenseman out there left is still here in Dougie Hamilton and Drew Doughty. So I think I'm just going to go... Trocheck does fill out what I need very, very well. But I want that. I'm going to take Hamilton just because I want the upside. Let's go. And defensemen are going, so that's fine. So that's fine. Then we see Seth Jones go, which, yeah, makes sense. Let's catch up here on these picks. So yeah, I keep getting the same, I keep building kind of the same teams, and that's for a reason. I mean, I really like what ends up happening when you build out teams this way. With defensemen early, I think it's way easier to find. And this time I'm going even heavier defense than before, simply because I got McDavid and Rottenen before. It's a really good starting point. Yeah, I'm actually shocked that no one went Dougie Hamilton there. I thought with all the defensemen going, I thought for sure we'd see Dougie go. I was really surprised to see keeping Karlsson go Weber. That I didn't expect that at all. I mean, top power play guy, sure, but didn't really think it'd happen. I thought it was more likely that they'd fade. Thought it was more likely that they'd fade the peripherals than anything else. So here on this next turn, what we're hoping for is that a Rene or Binnington falls to me. And then I'd also like to go one of Trocheck or Pierre-Luc Dubois. That's my ideal kind of center situation next, is that I can get a Pierre-Luc Dubois. A Tom Wilson would actually help me a ton with what I have right now. He'd be a great addition. Hoffman is out there too. He'd help me in goals quite a bit and shots. So there's a lot of options here left for me to fill out what I need on my team. Doughty is also staring me in the face. That one's going to be a little bit... If he's there, it's going to be tough not to take him. I just think you get such an advantage when you have, 4 or 5 defensemen. I mean, Morrissey late is going to be a huge get to for me, and Gostisbehere as well. So I think I like to get 3. I mean, right now I have my 3D. I don't really like to go over that just because so many default, like Gostisbehere and Morrissey and whatnot. It becomes tough. But anyways, what I was saying was kind of going with defense. Defense early, in my opinion, at least in a league like this, it allows you to pick up forwards much more, or forwards are much easier to pick up than defensemen. You can't make up what 5 defense will give you. Like if you have 5 defensemen, it's going to be very hard to find top power play defensemen on the wire. Whereas for forwards, it's going to be much easier to find those really late, 16th, 17th round picks. Like if you're waiting for 16, 17 round for defensemen, those are some bad defensemen. If you're doing that for forwards, they're good, but you can replace them pretty easily and kind of stream. Defensemen, it's hard to fix. It's really hard to fix your defense if you wait for like 2 or 3 at the very, very end. It's different if, like, let's say you're getting an Edler at the end or something like that. But in these leagues specifically, where I know the people are targeting, are making a big deal to get defense, it matters a lot, I think, to have good defense early. Trocheck and Marchko. So I know that if I leave Hoffman on the board, Brandon will take Hoffman. It's a guarantee. Straight guarantee. I know he takes Hoffman if I leave him on the board. Tom Wilson is also still out there, who I like a lot. Actually fills out a lot of the things that I'm missing in my team, which are... I mean, I'm actually doing better in PIMS than I thought, but... I'm number 1 in blocks, so I don't need... I'm strongest in blocks here, so I don't need a defenseman next. I can wait on that a little bit. Really what I need here is shots on goal and goals, so that's what we're going to target next. And for that, I think Hoffman is probably my favorite get. Although, yeah, I want Rene or Bennington or whatever, but... Scheifele. I'm whatever about Scheifele. Let's see what I have him ranked on my sheet, actually. I have him ranked 74th, so it's fine. It's like a, good value grab there. Yeah, so here I think my next pick, if Hoffman gets to me, we go Hoffman. So again, pretty different team from what I've built in the past, aside from my defense. My defense is very similar. But I need goals more than anything, so Hoffman would be a great get if he can fall to me. Otherwise, if Hoffman doesn't fall to me, I probably take Wilson. Probably. Come on, give me Hoffman. Don't you steal him. Don't you steal him. Hoffman is down there too, to be honest. Like that, I think there's Svech is interest. I think I can get Svechnikov later. I mean, his shots on goal are really nice too. But I want the power play points too from Hoffman. That's what really gives me points with Hoffman, or gets me extra stuff. Dahlin is also still out there, which is really nice. Pavelski, yes, that gets me Hoffman. I know for an absolute fact, that if I were to leave Hoffman on the table, Brandon would get him. If he got back to Brandon, I know he'd take him. So we're going Hoffman here, simply because, yeah, I need that goal scoring. I mean, Victor Arvidsson's still out there, but I'm not taking Arvidsson this early. It's really multi-dimensional. Not multi-dimensional in the sense of just not a lot of power play points. And you look at here, 30 power play points. Come on. I'm taking Hoffman. Vaults me into the first place. Yes, sir. Top power play points too. Second assists up there, and hits a first in blocks. Lovely. And my goaltender is still there if they get around to me here. I almost feel like I'm drafting a pretty Brandon type team here. Yeah, that sits me real pretty in the leaderboard. Really even across the board. Goals are still a little low, but that's okay. Doughty right after me. Great pick by keeping Karlsson. I figured I'd miss out on Doughty, but I already have 3 top defensemen. So I kind of want, one of, if I got like a Darlene or something like that I'd still be happy. I wouldn't be surprised. So this morning when I did my Rene Saros stack, Brandon saw me take him. I wouldn't be surprised if... So Brandon goes Subban. That's a good get, too. Great last. He goes back-to-back defenseman here. Subban and Dumba. I like that, actually. High upside guy in PK Subban, who fell a little bit far, and then Dumba as well. Great pick. So here on my next turn, if Tom Wilson's still there, it's going to be hard to pass on Tom Wilson, honestly. I like Svech, but I can get Svech, I think, later. I think. Torrey Krug is still out there, which is pretty crazy. Oh, yeah, there's so many good defensemen. I don't want to go defenseman here. Ideally, I think I go... that's so hard. Torrey Krug went. That's smart. So I think I'm going to go Rene here and get the goaltender I want. Although... let's see what keeping Karlsson. So they go Pettersson. Okay. See, so I'm down there in hits. My problem is goals. I need goals, and do I go Tom Wilson and chase the... See, for me, Tom Wilson in my rankings is a top... It's almost top 10. Yeah, let's go Tom Wilson here. Get the best player available there. Yeah, let's get Tom Wilson. Feels good. I think goaltenders will... I'm hoping goaltenders will continue to fall. It's also because there's just so many goaltenders that I like. I know I start a few, but like Carey Price is still there. Bennington is there. Rene is there. Dubnyk, Grubauer, Carter Hart. I'll be fine. Not too worried. So that gives me really good hits, really good PIMs. So I don't really need to worry about PIMs or hits or anything now, for the most part. I need to worry about points next year and fill out some of my forward spots. Unless, of course, the defenseman that I really like falls to me. Then I may break my rule. But I think, an Andrei Svechnikov would be good here next. Darlene now goes... Okay, that's fine. So I think, an Edler would actually be kind of interesting because it would leave me in such good spot for blocks and other peripherals that I could then just solely target kind of points, and that's it. Because then I could go like a Barzell, for example, late. Dubois still out there. Dubois is one of my favorite ones left here. I have Pierre-Luc Dubois ranked 45th and Svech 46th. Couturier 59, Kuznetsov 61, Anders Lee 66. So that's kind of some of the guys. Edler 73, Dustin Brown 75. So I think here, I think ideally on this turn, I wouldn't hate going Pierre-Luc Dubois backed by Andrei Svechnikov. I think that'd be kind of an ideal thing, and Rene goes. So not going to be doing the Rene Saros stack. I think ideally here we go Dubois, Svech. Although it might be smart to go Svech, Dubois in that order. Just because centers, I'd rather, if like let's say someone were to take, it would be more painful for someone to have taken the winger than someone to have taken the center. I'm fine if someone takes the center. I can make up the center. I can't make up that winger as easily. So I'd rather have Svech than Dubois if I had to pick between the two. But again, he could also just not get back to me. Okay, so people are taking their time. I think it's getting. I think people are struggling to make decisions here. I think they're debating between positional decisions here. Do I take a goaltender or do I take a defenseman? What do I do? Let's take a look here at draft results as well and see how people are shaping up. So I have 3 defensemen, 2 right wings, 1 center, 1 left wing. Biz already has 3 centers. Flozak already has 3 centers. Fist of Fuhrer has 3 centers. So this is good. Look at this. 2 centers for Brandon, 2 centers for Elan, 2 centers for Switzerland, 2 centers here, 2 centers here, everyone else with 3. That is great news for me. So that's, again, why I should fade Pierre-Luc Dubois just a little bit, because people don't have room for centers. I mean, they still have a util spot, right? So some people can do util. But for me, just I don't need it. And Svech goes on the turn. Ugh, sniped. That's slightly disappointing. So Pierre-Luc Dubois we're hoping for. Otherwise, I really like Couturier as well, to be honest. And obviously, the guy I've been getting late constantly is Jonathan Tase. Really good point guy with a lot of upside, in my opinion. Josh Morrissey. That is early for Josh Morrissey. That's the earliest we've seen him go. So it may be smart to take Edler here, actually, if he doesn't go before me. Just because he's such a good peripheral guy. Simmons, Petrie, Brown. Yeah, I think I might. I mean, Yandel is out there too, who gets you the power play points. Okay, so Yandel goes. Makes sense. Yeah, so I think if we're seeing this happen... Okay, if we're seeing this happen, then I think we'll go... Is Arvidsson still out there? Arvidsson is still out there, too. I like Arvidsson. The problem is his power play points. It's really the one thing that it really stumps me with Arvidsson is it's tough. It's a tough gamble to say that you're going to use a pick on that. Mantha's a good pick late. Tyson Barrie, very early for Tyson Barrie, my friends. So there's a good chance if I don't take Pierre-Luc Dubois here, I don't get him. But I don't really want to take a center. Let's take a look over here at my rankings. So this is what I have. So we've got Sean Couturier here. We've got Pierre-Luc Dubois being 45th overall. And after that, we've got some decisions. I mean, Edler I don't think gets to me. Pierre-Luc Dubois could get to me. I doubt it, though. But again, it's kind of one of those things where it's center. If I don't get a center, then fine. I think that if we're seeing so many defensemen go, someone like Edler is just not going to last long on here. Yeah, I'm going to get Edler. Get our boy. Our boy, Alexander Edler. lots of defensemen here early. So I only have one more defensive spot. So I'm going to fade defenseman hard after this. Probably go... People should have known I was Ian Edler. Raquel, okay. Switch back over here. So after my Edler pick, Raquel and Gallagher went. Curious to see what Brandon does here. So ideally, I think at the end we're going to target like a Gudas or a Chernak, which will give me good, similar to what I've done in almost every other draft. Gives me quite an option. I could see. I don't think Brandon's going to want to fill out his last center spot with Pierre-Luc Dubois, so I might end up being really happy here that I faded Dubois. Some people already have their 2 goalies. A lot of people don't have a goalie though, so. But it seems like the people that don't have goalies, like Elan, Brandon, Biz, I would feel like these people are going to fade goalies far, just like I am. Backstrom's a good pick, too. I mean, if Couturier is still there, I have to... I think... And Mantha. Yep. Figured that would happen. I think if Pierre-Luc Dubois is still there, I go Pierre-Luc Dubois. Most likely. So we're hoping for Pierre-Luc Dubois. Just not a lot of power play points. Who has the most power play points left here? LeBanc. That's an overestimate for sure. I like Barzell as well. Late. Just a lot of points. Ryan O'Reilly's also an interesting one because of his shots. Love Palmieri. He's been going really early recently, though. Clayton Keller might be playing top line there. Nikita Gusev is a good one late. Dubnyk went. Okay, so we may see goaltenders start to go. Okay, so let's see what... Honestly, I may do a Markstrom Demko stack. Honestly. Some weeks you'll do fine, some weeks you won't. But they went Grubauer. Keeping Karlsson goes Grubauer makes sense. So yeah, I'm looking at probably, Markstrom or Pierre-Luc. I could go Gostisbehere here too. And almost guarantee top power play guys. It's not a bad option actually. Somewhat interesting to do that. But I'm going to go Pierre-Luc Dubois. I want to get my guy here. Ranked 45th for me this year. It's my second center, so I have one more center spot. But I also have a util spot, so I can use it there. Carter Hart is still out there, and Carter Hart felt super far last time, or in some of our drafts. Oh. Okay, so let's switch over here now real quick so you can see me doing well. Competitive in assists. Some people are just really high in assists. I'm doing well in assists, well in PIMs, well in hits and blocks. So I'm solid in those peripheral stats. Now I just need to focus on points, guys. That's pretty much it. So, we're looking at the Barzells. We're looking at the Ryan O'Reillys. Those guys really are the ones I'm looking at. So high shot total guys, high goal total guys, high power play point guys, which I think I can find relatively easy here on the waiver. Now, someone that's interesting that I'm going to mark for really late is Patrick Hornquist. He might be getting top power play time, which would make Patrick Hornquist here, who would make quite an addition if he actually does get top power play, which is TBD still, but potential. Yeah, people seem to be struggling a little bit. Sorry about the planes. I think planes are going to either LaGuardia or JFK. I'm not sure which one. New York City. Anders Lee goes a little early, which is fine. There's still so many good scorers out there. Yeah, I'm in such a good spot now, peripheral-wise. I don't need to worry. And I can leave that last defense spot for like a... what's his name? Chernak or Gudas or something like that. Yeah, you see, the thing with Gostisbehere is just, he gets the shots. There's that power play point upside. Not a lot of goals. I'd rather use that spot to draft a forward that's going to get me points here. Let's switch over here to the scarcity graph real quick for a second. You can see that, center is for the next few centers are pretty even to the defensemen that have value and the right wings. But then after that, center kind of takes off at the end in terms of values. This is why you want to wait on centers late, because there's just so many here late that are better than the next kind of wing and defense options. You can trust that there will be value late. Petra Angelou, someone I'm very afraid of. I'm not touching any defenseman on the Blues. No, thank you. If we take a look over here at my ranks now still, so who's left that I like? Sean Couturier is still there, which is... Okay. Oh, he's right here. He's got the shots. Got some goals. Not as many power play points as I'd like, but not bad. May have to go Couturier. Fill out my centers. I mean, I do have one util that I can use on a center, so that's fine. We've got Josh Anderson. Got Jonathan Tase that I still like a lot. Matthew Barzal I like a lot. So I could just wait and say, well, if I don't get Couturier, I can go one of Tase or Barzal. Chris Kreider is still out there. Is a good option, but I just don't need the peripherals. I need the goals. Same with Dustin Brown. I don't need the peripherals, and they're mostly peripheral guys. Kopi's interesting too later on. Jeff Skinner might be a really good option because of goals here. Just the power play points, the big question mark with him, as usual. Yeah, mostly points guys is what we're targeting here. Just straight points guys is what we want. Which makes guys like Kyle Connor interesting, Jeff Skinner interesting, Cam Atkinson interesting, lots of shots, which is exactly what I need. The problem is, you also need to target power play points as you go. So you're like, Barzal is a really good option, just doesn't really get me goals, gets me the assists, but not the goals. Kyle Connor here soon is actually good because he fills out exactly what I need. Lots of shots, lots of power play points, lots of goals, lots of assists. Fills out exactly what I need. And he's a left wing. I think Kyle Connor would be one of those guys that's kind of a description of this is exactly what I need. And you're just taking someone that will help you out where you need it. Because what I need right now is I need points. And I think that if I think I can wait on, like, say, Palmieri is also somewhat interesting here. I think Gusev is going to start to be on people's radars, but I just don't need the assists. If we look at the assists, I'm kind of falling behind in both of those, but that's okay. Skinner is probably going to be on people's radars here. Okay, so now I'm up. Besser. That is late for Brock Besser. That is surprising. Okay, so now we need to decide between Skinner and Kyle Connor. Kyle Connor obviously has the whole, out thing, which we have IR plus, so I can place him on IR plus, which is fine. But might be a little bit of a reach here for him. Whereas I think with Skinner, it's someone that people are going to pay attention to right now. I think I gotta get my guy. Let's go Skinner. Skinner. Change my mind. We're going Skinner. Fading goaltender's hard here. Man, Matt Murray just keeps falling every draft we do as time goes on in the year. So far in these next few weeks of drafting, like I've seen Murray fall more and more every time, which is surprising. So we're taking a look here at what people have filled out. I have 4 defensemen. Elan has 4 defensemen. Gostisbehere is still there. I like the idea of Gostisbehere for upside. Kind of hoping he doesn't go because I'd like Gostisbehere quite a bit. Gusev is also there. Keller, there's a few options still. And Brandon taking Pulak is not surprising in the least. And then Palmieri. Kind of saw that one coming. So Kreider is still out there, who actually is a somewhat interesting option because of that top power play. I don't really need the hits or anything. The shots on goal aren't bad. They'd kind of help. I could use a little bit of hit help. Not a lot, but I could use a bit. I still do really like Kyle Connor where he is. And what he would contribute to my team. Now, I would put Skinner in the left wing slot, so technically if I were to take Connor, I'd have my 3 left wings filled up there. It's an important thing to note. Okay, let's... I have one more right wing. Gusev may be a good one. So I have one more left wing spot. Kreider goes. Smart play. Gostisbehere may be the good option here, just because he's the last kind of... well, no, because I want to use it. I mean, a util... So, there's an interesting case to use... That's a really good spot for Pacioretty. There's an interesting case to use the util for a defenseman like a Chernak. So I could take a Gostisbehere right now and then save like a Chernak or someone for the util. But I don't really need that because I'm already highly indexed in those and like all the peripherals. So I really need a points guy right now. It's because I need a points guy. I mean, Barzal has a lot of upside, just not a lot of goal upside, and what I really could use more of is goals. Man. Clayton Keller. Kyle Connor is probably my best option. Yeah, let's go Kyle Connor early. JVR is a good option late for me because I need points. Like, he could fit in. If I were to move Hoffman to this right wing, I'd have my right wing set, and I have one more left wing spot, which may actually be what I want to do. Yeah, so I'm feeling good kind of across the board right now. Still first in blocks by strength. Looking first in PIMs, towards the top in goals. Kind of a little bit low in assists, so like a Barzal could actually be really interesting here as a last center. Well, I like Kopi as well, to be honest. They just don't have as many shots as some guys. Willie Nylander is actually a good gamble late as well for shots and assists. If we look at the biggest shot getters left, Cam Atkinson, who's still out there too. Just the power play points is the one thing that doesn't excite me. And I should mention that when I'm doing this, I use I use Yahoo's rank just to kind of get a sense. My projections aren't terribly off from RotoWire's. So usually I'll just look at it to see, okay, well, who's the highest shot getter? And then I'll go back in my own projections and look and say, okay, well, can I justify taking this person this high or at this place? You know, a goaltender that's still out there too is Martin Jones. And Carter Hart. Carter Hart is still there. I mean, if he's there on this next turn, I'll get Carter Hart. There's a chance he's not, but potentially. I also really like the idea of a Varlamov Greiss stack. I was telling Brandon that today, just because if they replicate what they did with Leonard and Greiss last year, you are in the money. Obviously, they can't do that anymore, but you get my point. This is going to be tough to decide between Carter Hart or... Some people still have... Brandon has no goalie, so he's going to target a goalie, I think, this round. Unless he genuinely fades them to the very end. He might be targeting Mrazek, actually. He took Mrazek, like, very, very late earlier. But I like Carter Hart a lot at this value here. Much more than, like, a Leonard or something. And if I took Carter Hart, I could pair him with, like, a Markstrom or someone like that. I think Martin Jones is still out there, right? So he is. He's right here. I would love to pair him with a... I would love to pair Hart with a Markstrom. Wow, that's early for Gudas. It's fine with me. I figure Brandon will take a goaltender. If I miss out on Hart, that's fine. So I might go Gostisbehere just to get that last kind of key defenseman. I might snipe him Chernak, honestly, just for fun, because why not? I'm already fine, and I'm so fine in so many of those. I am pretty down low on hits compared to Brandon. Let's see if Yahoo thinks the same. Yahoo does not think the same. My sheet says I'm not as strong. Chernak would help, though. Justin Falk. Dadonov. I think the last, like, truly good defender here is going to be Gostisbehere. And it would be dumb not to take. I mean, Ekblad is out there too, who I like, but I don't really need the blocks. I need the power play point upside. So I'm gonna take Gostisbehere to fill out my defense. So now I have 4 top power play defensemen, exactly what I wanted. And I may, unless Brandon takes him here, I may think about Chernak as a util. I don't think I really want to do that. So again, Skinner is going to move into my left wing here. Or Hoffman is going to move into my right wing. Hoffman into my right wing. Skinner into my left wing. And opens up a center spot here. Or opens up a left wing spot and a center spot. And still leaves my util wide open. Willie Nylander still being there is interesting. Dustin Brown is a good pick. I would have taken him if I needed peripherals, which I don't. So, because I don't really need the peripherals, I'll pass on that. Chernak goes right after that. Good snipe on Brandon. I love it. Love Brandon getting sniped like that. I had to know he was thinking it after Gudas went. So I think on this next turn here, if Hart is there, I take Hart. If he's not, I may go someone like Barzell and try to hope that Markstrom or someone like that falls to me. LeBanc. So let's see what Brandon does here. I think he's going to go goaltender. Holtby. Yep, there it is. That's it. And Gusev. So two kind of... Holtby's a big question mark to me. And then Gusev, of course, has the upside. So it's a good grab for both of those guys. Shocked that Holtby fell that far, to be honest. Okay, so let's see who's still out there that I like. I mean, Kopi I like a lot. I like Jonathan Tase a lot. Surprised Josh Anderson is out there. But again, just kind of a peripherals thing for me. I don't really need the peripherals. I'd rather use the power play points than Barzal. I also like Kopitar. Good, you know, he can't really do worse than he did last year, to be honest. Also like Hornquist, especially with that power play point upside. Kopi's power play point upside is really big, as is Barzal's. And I have 2 center spots, which is really, really nice this late. Because look at this. Now I have, like, and Tase is still out there. Like, come on, folks. So I'm going to go Carter Hart here. I think that's the most obvious pick in the world, unless I get sniped. Which is the potential. Nope, he takes Anderson, as I kind of thought would happen after that Dustin Brown pick. So we're going to go Carter Hart here. Get my goaltender. Although, do we go Jacob Markstrom and Demko late? No, it's not worth it, because if I get sniped Barzal, then I go Kopi. If I get sniped them, I get Tase. Like, but Carter Hart is clearly the next best goaltender, aside from Razik. Aside from Razik, he is and I kind of like... I think I like Markstrom more for upside than Razik. Just from a pure talent goaltender perspective, I like the talent Markstrom has more than Peter Mrazek, so we're taking Carter Hart. And still in first here. Looking good. Brandon third, Elan in fourth. I'm pretty happy with my team so far. Let's take a look at my team real quick. Evgeny Malk, that's not my team, that's Brandon's team. I was going to say I don't have him. Connor McDavid, Pierre-Luc Dubois, Jeff Skinner, Mike Hoffman, Kyle Connor, Mikko Rantanen, Tom Wilson, Giordano, Letang, Hamilton, Edler, Gostisbehere, and Carter Hart. And so again, moving Hoffman into right wing will open up a left wing spot, because Skinner is going to come into left wing. So 1 left wing spot, 1 center spot, 1 util spot. Probably going to do center. So center, 1 center position, fill out my util center spot, and potentially I'm going to target, I think, James Van Riemsdyk in that left wing spot, hopefully, if he doesn't go. So Barzal goes, that's okay. Now we got to hope, I think, Kopitar falls to me, Jonathan Tase falls to me. People are really taking their time in this one, huh? Let's see if there's any sneaky ones down here. Nah. I mean, Elvis is somewhat interesting, but I don't think he's that good. Athanasiu. Austin Krause. Early for Krause, in my opinion. I think he's the last round pick that you can kind of gamble on. So with Clayton Keller out there too, he's kind of popping out to me. Getzlaf is also a very interesting late option. Lots of assists, somewhat of a power play point upside. Also fills out your shots, fills out PIMs, power play points, or shots on goal and hits. Not a lot of shots, but it does something for you at least. And Kopi goes. Disappointing. Not the end of the world. I like Tase more. Also like Nino, who's still out there. Upside to play on that top wing. Clayton Keller and Konechny, I like. Yeah. Nylander's, Nylander's still sticking out to me. I may have to, who is this? Who in the world is Stuart Skinner? Why is someone drafting Stuart Skinner, the goaltender on the Edmonton Oilers, that's not even in the NHL? Is that an auto? No. What in the world? That was... wow. Okay. Let's pause this for a second. Hold on. Okay. Let's pause this for... hold on. Quick pause. Okay, hold on. hold on. What just happened? Who the hell took Skinner? I'm guessing he didn't mean to take Skinner. Hold on. I don't know how to handle... where's Brandon? I don't even know what to say at this point. I mean, that was an awful pick. I don't know how to... I've never been in this situation before. Never been a commissioner, so... hold on. Let's... how is Brandon not around? Where is he? Yeah, no idea what to do here. I guess we'll just keep going. Sure. Yeah, I didn't hear from him, so I'm gonna keep going. Interesting. Okay. Not exactly how I expected this draft to go towards the end rounds, but sure. Nylander, Heiskanen. Okay. Sure. I'm really curious who... I don't know how you even get to Skinner. Like... it can be fixed when he drops them. Yeah, I mean, that's a solution, I guess. So we'll go Jonathan Tase here if he gets to me. No! Got sniped Tase. Damn it. Got sniped. God, that sucks. I want a Tase so bad. Okay, so what are we looking at here next? I mean, I guess... do I take Johansson or Getz? I actually kind of like Johansson. Just for the points. I mean, I guess I get assists. I mean, Getz is one of those guys I can get really late. Let's go JVR and fill out that left wing spot. Shane right after. Okay, so let's take a look over here real quick at the draft leaderboard and what's happening. So I've recovered really nicely in points. Hits is a little bit of a deficiency here for me, and assists as well. So I could go. This person just realized they took the wrong. They just realized they took the wrong goaltender. Like, okay, sorry. That's. I wonder if they thought that was Jeff Skinner. Very possible. Yeah, maybe I should have taken Getzlaf there. Damn. Getzlaf would have been good. So now let's take a look at who I like here left. Johansson is probably the next best kind of option. Zucker is out there as well, who I like. Stahl is not awful, actually. Shoots a lot. I don't really need these peripherals. I mean, I would like... I think util I may actually go... So here we're going to put Hoffman here, Skinner here, and then I'd put Stahl here, and then I need to think about what I'm going to do for that utility spot. May need to get a hitter. Jack Hughes is out there, too. That isn't... Could go Jack Hughes and Kako at some point here. I like the Jones pick there. I figured Brandon would take Jones. Although Brandon having Holtby and Jones means he's pretty much punting. Oops, sorry, I didn't move over to the draft here. Him taking Martin Jones and Holtby is going to mean he's going to be in deep hell when it comes to what he wants for save percentage, goals against average. Not that I'm going to be much better. I think I'm going to end up with Jonathan Quick last round. I don't know how you end up with Skinner over Markstrom. Maybe ranked it? That sucks. Okay, so I think here I don't hate the idea of just going upside with like a Jack Hughes or a Kako. I have one center spot and a util. I mean, the problem is with Kako, I guess I could put him on my util. Oscar Clefbaum, okay. Let's go. I think I like... Oh, what do I want? Do I prefer Kako or Hughes? Kako or Hughes? Kako or Hughes? I think Hughes... If Hughes isn't on the top power play, it's a little bit of a problem. Whereas Hughes is a center. I get more points. God, man. I don't know what to do here. Man, I don't know what to tell you. This is a tough one between these two. I do like Hughes more, I think. If I'm drafting a Rangers shirt, it only makes sense to just take a gamble on Kako. I don't think Hughes gets to me. If he does, I'd take him, but I don't think he will. There's some upside there, though. I think eventually he could get top line. I can hope that Hughes gets to me, but I just don't think it'll happen. Probably won't get to me here. Boone Jenner goes. See, the problem is, this is the nice thing for me, is that in this draft, we saw one, centers go way later, and two, we saw kind of people fade peripherals early, and so now they're starting to realize, okay, I need to get peripherals again. And then Dahlbeck. My God. Every time, there's always a Dahlbeck pick. And if you look at my I think so far. I recovered super well in goals. Recovered really well in PIMs, killing it in blocks still. Super competitive in power play points. Really good in shots. Like, I've done super well. I think hits is the one area where I'm really bad in, and I may have to think about potentially using a util on a hitter. But then assists as well, I'm not as strong there. So I could here kind of fix that by taking like Hughes and fixing that up, taking upside. And, I don't really like going into things with like the idea of, oh, you can trade someone. But he is definitely someone that I could think about later, maybe trading. But I don't think he'll get to me. Rope Hintz is a really good option, actually. A lot of hits will get me assists as well. I like Hintz a lot as a util option. Look at hits here. Let's see what's left. Carrier. You have Nikita Zadorov. Milan Lucic, maybe, as a util. Not really worth it, though, in my opinion. Austin Watson, Nick Ritchie. Nick Ritchie is slightly interesting on Anaheim. There's Zach Cassian as well as a late round flyer, if you really wanted to go that route. I think I'm probably gonna go Rope. Oh no, here comes the cat. He'd probably auto me Stahl or Johansson. Yeah, I like the fact that they've said that Hintz is going to be a. I like the fact that they've said Rope Hintz will be a. What's the word I'm looking for here? The fact that he will be a. I'm completely blanking on the word. The fact that he'll be a top 6 forward, because that means he's going to be playing with one of those lines of Ben, or he's going to be with say Yan. There's a lot of options still. That's a great grab from Mrazek. I'm not a big Mrazek fan, but that's a great spot for him. Man, am I going to get Hughes here? I don't think he'd fall to me. Only 2 more picks? I don't think so. I think he might get sniped. Potentially. Hughes is a good upside guy I like for points. Not 100% what I need, but it's okay. How am I doing in standings so far? Down to 5th. Middle in goals. Middle towards the bottom in assists, so Hughes' upside in assists there is good. Solid in PIMs. Decent in power play points. Up there in shots on goal. Towards the bottom there in hits and blocks. Quinn Hughes goes. And fading centers works yet again, my friends. I'm going to take the brother here in Jack Hughes. $188th pick for Jack Hughes. That is awesome, awesome value. I'm going to be a little bit in trouble in hits, though. Definitely going to be a little bit in trouble. But that's okay. I'm doing so well in any cat that's not hits. Hits is going to be where I'm in the most trouble. But I'm pretty competitive against most people. Like, there's probably four people I'm going to almost never beat. And then there's others that I'll be competitive against. Oh, I saw both of those Brandon picks too. Most Brandon end of the turn picks ever. Jonathan Drouin. Let's take a look at the goaltenders here, which is, well, is there a specific player I want? Because I could also take a player here that I really want. And then what happens is I don't have I have to put Connor on IR plus anyways. So I could just take a skater that I really want. So Kyle Connor right now is slated into the left wing spot. So I could take a center if I wanted to and put him there, but I'll probably not do that, honestly. Chucky goes. Okay, so what do I do here? I could take a skater, like an Eric Stahl, or a Ropeans. I can take Ropeans, and then I can take a goaltender. I can pick up a goaltender with my free agent budget, or once I put Connor on. Yeah, let's do that. So we take Rope. And again, this is going to show now that I'm over-indexed on the leaderboard, but regardless, it's going to be for the best. We went pretty different this time. This is a very different team from ones I've built in other ones. Finished so far second here. Bingo Bango Bongo, say that 3 times fast, is doing pretty well as well. If we switch over here to the leaderboard, very balanced. Just so well balanced across the board. It's impressive how balanced they are. It's really impressive. Keeping Karlsson doing well. Faded, well, I guess it's because mostly we're seeing these teams be so high in assists that it's kind of making, 4.4 is the lowest by quite a margin. So went goal heavy, went shot heavy, very competitive in hits, very competitive in blocks. Not as many power play points, so it's interesting there. And then Brandon, we'll get to his team. Okay, so Nico Hischier, there's a good pick too. Let's go back over here to the leaderboard. Brandon has... What does Brandon have here? Brandon has these players. So low in blocks, just completely punted blocks, it seems. Not great in goals and assists, and then did well everywhere else. So very similar draft. He had a very similar draft to what he's done in the past. Not too many surprises there. So I'm tied for 1.5. I'm tied for first up there, according to Yahoo. I am. Brady Shea and Darcy Kemper last. Okay, so there you go. So that's the draft with keeping Karlsson. So let's take a look at the teams here. So here's my team: Connor McDavid, Pierre-Luc Dubois, Jeff Skinner, Mike Hoffman, Kyle Connor, James Van Riemsdyk, Mikko Rantanen, Tom Wilson, Capo Caco, Mark Giordano, Crystal Tang, Dougie Hamilton, Edler, Gostisbehere, Hughes, and Hintz. Connor's going to go to my IR plus, and immediately I'm going to put Hintz in there. Great draft so far, to be honest. I feel good. I'm going to go pick up a goaltender in probably quick, I think. We'll see. Maybe pay attention to who's going to win out between Talbot or Riddick. But other than that, I'm happy with it. It went very differently from what I have usually drafted, but it ended up working out pretty well. I ended up being tied for first overall. I was first in goals, towards the bottom in assists, but that's okay. Like I've always said, I prefer goals to kind of become assists. Top in PIMs, third in power play points, second in shots on goal, down in hits. I kind of punted that to an extent. Very competitive in blocks. Like I feel confident that I'll be able to compete in blocks week in and week out. Obviously in goaltenders, like I'm not as high and I need to pick up a goaltender, but that can also be fixed. Let's take a look at Brandon's team here. So Brandon had Malkin, Larkin, Backstrom, Ovechkin, Brady Tkachuk, Anthony Mantha, Kyle Palmieri, Patrick Hornquist, Victor Hedman, PK Subban, Matt Dumba, Pulak, Ronik, Gusev, and Parise. So he has an extra spot. I'm trying to see here who he has that he can. I don't think any of these people, unless it's Mantha, can be put on IR plus. I don't. No, I'm not sure who exactly he's gonna put on IR plus. So one of these guys. Oh, he's gonna move someone around. Like he'll move Mantha into the right wing spot and then put Parise in the left wing. Okay. So not a bad team. The floor feels a little low for this team to me in like Dumba, Pulak, Ronick, and Gusev. Like it feels a little bit low. With a lot of kind of high ceiling guys. And you have like Larkin, Malkin. The top, it feels very top heavy and there's not as much, there's not a fine gradient. It's kind of like there's the best and there's clearly the worst. And that's kind of how it feels with this team. Let's go over to keeping Karlsson's team real quick. So Austin Matthews, Pettersson, and Duchesne, Forsberg, Raquel, Pacioretty, Tarasenko, Dustin Brown, Josh Anderson, Brent Burns, Shea Weber, Drew Doughty, Eric Gustafsson, Clefbaum, Galchenyuk, Grubauer, and Ranta. So goaltenders are going to be tough. Ranta, we'll see if he's ever healthy. Other than that, on the forward side and the defense, I like it. It's interesting because it's a strategy that's pretty clear in which you have the point getters. You have the point getters and you have your peripheral guys. Those are the two you have. And so there's, the Austin Matthews and the Elias Petterssons of the world, and then clearly targeted like the Dustin Browns, Josh Andersons, Shea Webers, Drew Doughties of the world that are going to get you the peripherals. And that was pretty obvious from a get-go, at least from what it seems, and that's kind of how it seems to be built. But other than that, I think it was a fun draft. It went differently than expected. The leaderboard kind of shows, Bingo, Bango, Bongo is going to be the most competitive team. It's going to be the hardest one to beat, I think. Taking a look at their team, they're going to be pretty hard to compete against. Just because they're so competitive in every single category, whereas for me, I'm very competitive. For me, I think the big question mark is going to come down to goaltending. I'm going to need my goaltending to perform. I can compete in assists. Hits I'm not going to be as competitive in. Blocks I'll be fine in. I think a lot of weeks it is going to come down to me for goaltenders, potentially. But other than that, I'm pretty happy with how the draft went. And drafting behind keeping Karlsson was fun. That was a first. So anyways, thank you for watching. Lots of another draft to come. Hope you've enjoyed. Kind of go back and watch the waiver wire targets if you've made it this far in the video. And other than that, we'll be getting started very soon, starting Wednesday, on our in-season content, which is so exciting. Okay, thank you so much for watching. See you next time.